Good afternoon. My name is John Presko, and I am the prophet of my church. I founded 5, 6 years ago, the New Radio Church of God. The Radio Church of God was founded by Herbert Armstrong, who broadcast over here on Laura Street, which I can walk to in about 20 minutes. I pleaded with the city of Springfield not to tear down KORE, preserve it, because it's a monument. It's one of the first radio shows that broadcasts the word of God, the alleged word of God, and Jesus. And Herbert Armstrong talked about the end time Elijah and other prophecies, which I'm continuing. We are on the verge of a of a third world war starting in the Middle East, uh, where a lot of evangelicals believe uh, the end of the end time war will begin. Um, guess you have to say they're right. So we have, so I'm going to discuss what their motives are uh, compared to mine. Um, my motive is to bring you the plain truth as I can assimilate it, analyze it, and broadcast it to you. It's basically high noon. The biggest, let me just finish. Herbert Armstrong's church was basically taken over by families, members, and other people who absolutely just erased his original teaching, replaced it with a generic evangelical teaching that you find everywhere. It's taken over our Republican Party and now the Congress, which can't elect a speaker. And therefore, our Congress can't come to the aid of our allies, one of them being Israel. And the budget's, we got to pay our bills in 20 days. It looks like the Republican Evangelical Party is not going to be ready to do anything. They've been rendered impotent by believers in Jesus and the end times. Herbert Armstrong, the end of his ministry, did concentrate on the end time Elijah, um, which he believed would come. And it looks like I am the end time Elijah. Uh, I'm going to basically be writing uh, my book or broadcasting it live because there's so much information here now that I can't take even 3 days off to try to finish this book because it just keeps growing larger and larger. So it's going to be a series of broadcasts as long as it takes. This is broadcast number 1, coming to you on October 24th, 2023 at 12:15 p.m. Today is the birthday of my late sister, Christine Rosamond Benton, uh, who drowned mysteriously on her first sober birthday. So what I'm going to be telling you is I took out a special copyright for ministers where everything I write and everything I speak is copyrighted. I decided to reveal the core of my book and information that was going into my book that I was hoping to get published and give me some credibility. But I don't have time for credibility. In fact, everybody used credibility is shot to hell, starting with the Israeli Defense Force. The failure to detect the murderous raid by Hamas from the Gaza is being compared to Pearl Harbor. And there are questions being asked, and it's very difficult for these questions to be asked by a non-religious person because they're coming under attack. And Israel has threatened to assassinate members of Hamas wherever they find them all over the world. This puts Netanyahu and the right-wing religious hawks who are backed by the Orthodox Jews on par with Putin and Patriarch Kirill. These religious factions of these two countries, Israel and Russia, are against the LGBTQ people, which I championed in my book, The Royal Janitor, after I saw a video of Putin's Cossacks beating up members of Pussy Riot. Absolutely a horrible, horrible video to watch. And it's being surpassed by Hamas being allowed, and that's what it looks like, being allowed to knock out those detection towers and blow a hole through that fence and come pouring through, a lot of them on motorcycles. There's video which I got to study, which I study in length, because it just blows your mind. There's videos of taken up high. One says from a satellite, and one from a Hamas drone. A Hamas drone dropping a bomb into one of these detection towers, blowing it up. How many are blown up? That really has not been established. This incident and these images have not been talked about. They're being suppressed, and they need to show them again on CNN and MSNBC and Fox News, because this is the big Pearl Harbor that looks like it's leading to World War III. Israel did develop a way to detect these drones and defend against them years ago, even back in 2012, when Israel saw how these drones were being used as an offensive weapon, that they were on it. And this is what Israel's known for. It's almost a laboratory of eggheads, intelligent people who happen to be Jews, having one of the greatest military defense systems in the world. It includes intelligence detection, scientific development, weapons development. Israel makes some of the best armament in the world. And they were working on how to bring down drones. I'm sure they saw drones coming from the West Bank and from the Gaza Strip and elsewhere. And I'm sure they had enough time to develop a system where they're detected step one, and two, blown out of the sky. They have the iron dome that's knocking out all those hundreds and hundreds of rockets that Hamas has been shooting into Israel. And I mean, it's possible that all those rockets streaming overhead camouflage these drones. This we need a major study. And there's a person that did comment on it that I'm going to contact to see if I can get an interview with him on this matter. He's an expert in war games, and he's associated with the Canadian School College of Defense, which is probably related to the British College of Defense that Ian Easton was the head of. So I'm in a position to comment on these things. And I'm exhausted. I turned 76 October 8th. All hell broke loose on the 7th, and I'm still traumatized by the visions I had on October 6th, when I began to compose a chapter of the Royal Janitor, where I have my biblical scholar, Miriam Starfish Chrysling, comment on Jesus telling Peter to get behind him, Satan. You know, you got to keep reading the Bible over and over, and I haven't had time to do that. But when I first read the Bible and the second time, that didn't really register until I started looking at the angel that took Jesus up to the top of the temple and tempted him, and he says, "Get behind me, Satan." Well, I don't believe that was Satan. I believe it was the angel Thaniel, and I'm associating myself with Thaniel, who is associated with the LDS Church. Whew. So, thank God I got a big brain. I was looking at a photograph. No, it's a hair disease. Jeez, if you were to shave your head, John, you'd look like somebody from another planet. And that's how it feels. We're involved in a planetary warfare that is getting around nuclear warfare. And it's found the way the people that design war, and they do have designers, and they have people that invent war games, and sometimes they're carried out. And it looks like we've had a pattern where the major players just bomb cities into oblivion, and they have no care for the citizens, the children, the babies, the unborn, bomb the shit out of them. And this is what we've been watching since October 7th. And it's become a moral battle. And in that respect, it's a holy war. To watch Israel go in there and take its revenge by bombing the Gaza into rubble and having the people march in an exodus to the south, where they just level the north, and they're not letting food and water and fuel in there. We're looking at the equivalent of an atomic bomb. Atomic bombs do this kind of damage. And we're looking at what we did to Hiroshima and Nagasaki. We go like, oh, I guess it's okay to sit in our sofas and our easy chairs in our homes and watch CNN, Fox News, and watch uh, uh, war technology reduce human beings to hamburger meat. I saw a video after that hospital was bombed, and they say it's a mosque, where people are going through the lawn looking for body parts of their relatives so they can bury them. It reminded me of what I was going through with Belmont, the city of Belmont, digging up my kin. So Herbert Armstrong was really involved with how Christianity, Judaism, uh, communist Russia and China, how we dealt with a new morality, the new Elijah, the new end of the world, and he was emphatically said the war of Armageddon that's going to start, the nuclear war, will start with Russia, and that's developing, folks. Eisenhower just made a right turn at Moab. That's a joke between my friend, missing friend or ex-friend. Uh, he knows who he is. I'm not going to mention his name. But when this starts, when the war game starts, and they become holy war games, and they become propaganda wars, then you really have to call upon a man of God. You really have to ask yourself, well, is God directing any of this? Is he playing a role in this? Is God indifferent? Does man get to play God? Play God with the truth, with two books of the Bible? Play games with the Holy Quran? To play games with the Patriarch Church of Russia? So it's a moral holy game, because basic human instincts is one of empathy. When you see women and children being brutally murdered and killed and bombed and raped and tortured, you want it to stop, just for the sake of the innocents. And getting around that feeling, that basic humanitarian feeling, is the objective of the war game hawks, who are really having their way in the bombing of Syria and the bombing of Ukraine and now the bombing of Gaza. These are like three major, they're nations that are being obliterated right before our eyes. If a small nuclear weapon was used, I think you'd wake up and say, no more of these nuclear weapons. This has got to stop. This is wrong. And Israel, Netanyahu, and the IDF, and all the generals of Israel have not condemned Putin for bombing civilian targets in the Ukraine, killing babies and children, and children were taken hostage and taken into Russia. And where is the voice of Netanyahu? And this is really, I've done a good job of coming to the big question. Why is there no, the UN is trying to step in here, but there needs to be a high noon by God, where he says, hey, you're not doing this in my name. God Allah needs to say, you're not doing this in my name. The Patriarch Church of Russia says, no, you're not doing this in our name. As a man of God and as the embodiment of the new Elijah that Herbert Armstrong promised would come at this very time when these historic convergence of situations come together, which he looked at a lot, and he broadcast right down the street about a mile and a half from KRE, and they tore it down. They tore down the tower. So I'm using YouTube, and they're putting them up on their, where they link these all together, and they're rebroadcasting the videos I'm making on Royal Rosemont Press. So I'm going, whoa, this is kind of embarrassing. I say some wild things, you know. Well, we're hearing a lot of wild things which just won't do, and they've got to be questioned. And being a man of God, I frankly, I've got some protection. And the Israeli intelligence assassination threats are scary to me. And so are Putin's assassination attempts. He sent the C-15 into Czechoslovakia, where my people came from, and they exploded a bomb that killed people in Czechoslovakia. So it's on. This is representing my connection to the Schwarzenberg family and the Session family of Bohemia. They were basically the main royalty. And Hitler and then the Soviet Union took away our castles and our property. And I made a claim. All right. I'm going to post this on RoyRosamondPress.com, my blog. And I will talk to you soon about Matthew 16, about where allegedly Jesus says to Peter, get behind me, Satan. And I'll tell you what I believe is behind there. It's quite shocking. All right, take care.